As a PM for Amazon Ads, what are the metrics that you would look at, and how will you use those metrics to come up with features? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mentor Me Good. Today, we are here with Viraj, who is a Senior Product Manager Tech at Amazon, for a mock interview. Before we get to the mock interview, Viraj, can you introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm happy to join. Hi, I am Viraj Golab. I graduated from Carnegie Mellon in 2011. After that, I joined Bank of America, worked in New York for a couple of years. Followed by that, I worked with KPMG in consulting for about 1 year. And then I moved to Amazon. In Amazon, I worked with three, four different teams, including retail finance, advertising, operations, and currently a marketing team. So I'm happy to share my knowledge with you all.
Great. Thanks, Viraj, for joining. Before we get into the interview, I wanted to set some context with our audience. So, the goal of this mock interview is to help you prepare for your interview in Amazon. So, we will do a mock question, and then after the question, I'll give some feedback. Viraj and I are going to discuss how it went. So, let's go about it. So the question for today's mock interview is: imagine that you are a product manager at Amazon for Amazon Ads, and as a PM for Amazon Ads, what are the metrics that you would look at, and how will you use those metrics to come up with features?
Okay, sure. That's an interesting question. So I'm working in Amazon and I'm the product manager for ads business, and we want to understand how we will use the metrics, and then also build some features. Okay, so let's think about in terms of the ad world. I mean, it's pretty big. So I think we can start with customer first. Let's try to define the customer. So if you look at ad world, there can be the end consumers to whom we showcase the ads. Then there are advertisers. This is under set of stakeholder. They have different campaigns and they will serve their products. Could be like Gillette, Procter and Gamble, this type of advertisers. And then Amazon can be a platform in between. So help me understand. So are we talking about Amazon.com or Amazon.xx as a platform, or do you want to serve ads on any other third-party platform like
Yeah,
CNN, CNN?
yeah. So good question. So we are only focusing on Amazon platform right now.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. So if we talk about that, then let's try to look at. Give me a minute to think. Um,
Sure.
Okay, we align that Amazon is the platform we want to stick with, and then within that, help me understand which customer are we talking about. It could be the end consumers to whom we serve the ads, which we can call it more of ad supply, or then there is the other part of the world which is managing the experience of advertisers. That is kind of the managing the demand. So which one do you want to focus upon?
Yeah, so between the end customers and the advertisers, let's focus on the customers, the end customers.
Okay. Okay. So we can focus on the end customer. Then within the end customer, let's think about their needs, right? So we agreed on which customer to focus upon. So if I think about the way I or many people also think about the ads is ads enhance the experience of customers. They help customers to explore new products which they otherwise would not have seen, and that's where it's kind of discovery effect for customer. So from customer point of view, they want to see quality content, so the good quality ads. I think another thing as a customer would be I want you to honor my preferences. So if I'm a customer and I'm only don't want to see ads, then on certain platform, like on mobile, maybe I would be okay, but on desktop, I don't want it because I share the desktop with other people at home. There could be kids. So I want you to honor those preferences once I give you those options. Another thing is I want relevant content. Um, so if I come to say Amazon and I'm shopping for some books, it makes sense. I see some ads around books, but if I haven't like really browsed any content, then related to books doesn't make sense to see those ads while I'm shopping for some other like coffee machine. So this is what I would think from customer point of view. Um, do you think those needs make sense?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take
Um,
it forward. Yeah.
and then now we agreed on the customer. We agreed on what are their needs. We let's try to understand now. Kind of go through the priority. We can potentially use metrics as an input for understanding customer pain points, and then try to match those pain points with
Yeah,
the features.
I'm kind of curious about what are the metrics that you will look at for this customer segment.
Okay. And so, do you think we have access to say customer focus group or some customer feedback, or you want to focus on the metrics only?
We want to focus on the metrics in the interest of time.
Okay. Okay. So as a product manager for ads, what I would do is give me a minute. So I could think about two aspects of the ads. One is the delivery aspect, where what is our capability to deliver the ads to customer, and the second aspect is what is the customer interaction with the ads. So one is delivery, other is interaction. I think around these two themes we can discuss the metrics. So if we think about the delivery of ads, what I would do as a PM is try to understand, okay, how many customers does my site have? I would try to understand what is my opportunity size. So the way I would define that is number of customers multiplied by average sessions per customer. So most of the sites, I mean Amazon or other sites also, we have data access to the historical traffic data. Based upon that, we can put an estimate of what is opportunity size or how many ads we can potentially serve to the customers. So that's kind of the opportunity size I will look at. So that's my top level metric, top of the funnel, where I will start. Then I will try to understand how many ads actually am I serving to the customers. In the ad world, we call it usually like impressions. So how many impressions are there? And so if you look at these two metrics and try to calculate like the fill rate. So the concept is a fill rate, where which is nothing but your number of impressions divided by number of opportunities that you had. So I will try to look at if I am a PM, want to understand what is the opportunity size, what is the fill rate for a particular ad placement. Um, do you want to focus on the specific page, maybe like home page or search page? That will make a little bit easy to get into details.
Yeah, you can certainly brainstorm in the on a page that you want to.
Okay. So I can take the example of say homepage. So on that page, let's take the example that we have two ad placements, meaning as a customer, I can see two ads above the fold, so without scrolling down. So one ad is on the middle center, top center, and then the other ad is on the right side. You see a small ad. So let's think about these two ads for the example. So as a PM, I can potentially own this one, all the ads on this page, so all the slots, or I can own some other pages. So we are discussing only this home page and two slots. Within that, I will try to understand what is the fill rate for each of the slots. Then I will move to the other part, which is the interaction. Um, so when we discuss about the interaction, the metrics that matter for ad are um, the click-through rate. So as a customer, am I clicking on the ads? What percentage of customers are clicking on the ads? The other metric that I would consider is um, I think the CPM, which is the revenue per thousand impressions in the ad world. Is it like $2, $5? It depends on the season. It can change based upon the placement of the ad. And then I would use these kind of two metrics to also come up with output metrics. So the way I would think is there are some input metrics which you can influence, and then there are output metrics which are the outcome. So in this case, ad revenue can be an output metric. The ad revenue is nothing but your number of impressions that you delivered multiplied by CPM, which is per thousand impressions, and that way I can get a number. So if we say, for example, my impressions were 100 million or so, and my CPM rate is say $2, for example, then it's going to be 100 multiplied by 2 divided by 1000. That would be your kind of the ad revenue. So these are the metrics I think I would look at. The other thing I would also do is I'll look at weekly metrics, and then also understand the trend, historical trend. Monthly metrics will also be helpful to understand year over year trend if you're moving the metrics in the north and right direction. So do you have
Yeah.
any additional?
You mentioned about customer interaction, and the metric that you mentioned is click through rate. Can you think of any other metric that would help you to gauge user engagement?
Other than click through rate, let me see. And nowadays, we measure. There is technology where we measure dwell time. Dwell time is something like how much time you spend on a particular ad or particular card. Like when you scroll, say for example, Facebook or Amazon, any of these sites, the
Yeah.
homepage is like this, right? So how much time you spend. So dwell time is important. Depth to which you scroll. Those are the metrics that are also important. I would also think about what are the go one more level detail. So, being customer obsessed, I would try to think about any further deep dive that we can do to understand how click through rate is getting impacted, why it is a particular percentage. It could be driven by, say, how the ad is relevant. I mean, we use some recommendation algorithms to show some ads to customers. Are those ads relevant? It could get impacted by latency. So, for example, if the ad create is heavy, then it might take some more time to load the ad, and customer will probably scroll down or bounce off by that time. So you might not serve the ad. Or it could be other things. I think we can consider is um, I think I would consider also the duplicate ads. Yeah, this is interesting one actually. I've seen on Facebook or sites like CNN or many other sites where you see the same ad at the two places on the same page, which is very poor experience. I think from customer point of view, it's also waste of like real estate because you're limited page. So we might want to improve on these three um, relevance, latency, and then dedupe or avoiding the duplicates. That will improve your, I think, click through rate.
Okay, so how would you now, so the insights that you've got from the click-through rate, or you have some kind of hypothesis, you mentioned a couple of things. How would you define and narrow down what are the like one or two features that you would go after? How would you think about prioritizing those features?
Okay, I mean that's okay. We are getting into, I think, 5 level details. So the way I would try to understand is, I mean, let's start with the company and what are the company's goals, right? Different company have different goals or tenets. If, in this case of Amazon, they have a like flywheel. Everyone knows about it. Um, it really talks about how can we increase our selection that drives more better customer experience, that drives more traffic. Eventually, it drives more sellers to the platform. And then I would say the way ad would fit in this is um, ads drive more ad revenue that you can use to potentially um, help offer your products at a more cost effective manner. So that will help you offer customers product at a right price. Um, that way we can improve the customer experience. So we can think about either increasing the fill rate, the initial concept that we discussed, which is nothing but number of impressions we delivered divided by the opportunity size. So if we look at, for example, these two ads, what do you think is like the difference in the fill rate for these two? I mean, is the fill rate according to the benchmark? Do we need to improve that?
I would say fill rate is pretty much how it is in the industry. So
Okay.
maybe we can choose something different.
Okay. So then I think we can go to instead of focusing on the delivery aspect, we can focus on the customer interaction with the ads. In that case, I think Do you think there's a difference between the click-through rate for these two placements which are close by in
Um,
terms of placement?
yeah. So carrying on to the example that you said, on homepage you have two widgets, and the click through rate is, we see a discrepancy in the click through rate between the two widgets.
Okay. So the way I would approach this problem is I will try to form a hypothesis, trying to understand how the click-through rate is impacted. Um, One reason can be like less relevant content. So the other reason can be we are setting up campaigns which are driving more duplicate ads to customers, so they are not interested, they are not clicking, or they already kind of purchased, some items, and we are still sending them the ads for those items. The third one could be the quality of creative. I mean, um, if it's a heavy creative, then it takes more time to load, so customer is not interested and to wait for so long. I mean, I mean, we don't like, no one likes the experience to see a timer on the screen.
Yeah.
So, in terms of like, so let's talk about the opportunity, right? So, do you have guys some feature around taking customer feedback, like or dislike on the ads that we can
Um,
use?
Today we don't have any such feature.
Okay. So that is one thing potentially we can consider for further discussion. The other thing is, do you have some algorithm to remove duplicates or remove the items that you already purchased, the products that you already purchased? Like
Um,
you come to shopping site for buying a coffee machine, you bought it on say 10th of December, and on 11th of December I show you the same coffee machine. Uh, to avoid those scenarios, do you have some algorithm in place?
we don't actually. I did like that idea though. Yeah.
Okay. And then the third could be the quality of creatives. So do you have some algorithms which um, filter out the poor quality creatives at the start when you set up the campaigns? I mean, it could be like very heavy file size, or it could be
Yeah.
creative. Do
So
you have that?
we do have a way to detect creatives that are not of good quality, from its size and the links that it points to and all that. So we have a feature that takes care of it.
Okay. So then we can focus on the first two, right? One is either getting more customer feedback on understanding why the content is less relevant to them and why they are not clicking. That can be done by building some. Have you seen like Facebook scroll? There are different there are different slots on the page. It's infinite scroll for every slot, which is of your like half of your mobile size.
Hmm.
There is a small button or three dots on the top, which you can use to either say this is not relevant to me or I don't want to see this type of content. Um, that type of feature, I think we can consider building, but I think it's a high effort, I would say, feature, and it will take some time. The other could be probably potentially the other can be a quick win. You mentioned that you don't have the feature where you filter out either duplicates or you filter out also the purchase items. So what we can do is we can focus on the purchase items one. I think that's a quick win. The reason being, you already have, I believe, the purchase data or the historical data as a, company would have that access to that data. So we can marry that data of purchase history at a customer level, and we marry it with the ads that we're going to show. So if, say, example, I'm a customer, I shopped on your site, I shopped for coffee machine of Nest Cafe brand. And then you pick my purchase history, or the algorithm picks my purchase history, and then if there is some campaign that Starbucks or some other company is running related to coffee machines, then you just filter out that particular category for me because I already seen that, and you show me some other ads. So that kind of filtering I'm talking about. So I think that's implementation is reasonable. I would say we can, as a PM, I don't want to uh, estimate. I mean, I would want engineering team to give me the estimate. Obviously, I would focus on the other what and why aspect of it. So why we want to do it is to improve the customer experience. Any impression that we serve is important. We want to be judicious. What we want to do is we would go ahead and implement this filter, the purchase filter, that would um, improve the relevance of ads and not show customers the thing that they don't need. and then how we can discuss with the engineer. But I think it would be around medium effort, and the impact could be also good. So probably I would try to prioritize this feature based upon the impact and the technical feasibility.
Okay, sounds good. I think Viraj, with that we come to the end of the interview. But how do you feel about the interview? What do you think? How it went?
So the way I think about it is, I think somewhere inherently I try to use a bit of circles method that many people, some people know. Like first trying to understand about who is the customer, then identifying their needs. Then I think we discuss about specifying those needs. Then we prioritized the needs. We also then um, picked up a few of those based upon the tech feasibility. So I think that's kind of the format I followed. Um, the one thing that is helpful, I think, is the ability as a PM. I think what helped me is the ability to think about any problem from customer point of view, understand it's a pain point, understand can we deliver incremental benefit to customer by solving that problem, and then going through this kind of journey and align as a discussion,
Yeah.
even with the interviewer or any team, that whether it makes sense. And I think that is the best part I like about product management. This is how I would look at the interview.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. So I think we should, I'll insert the circles framework that you talked about for our listeners or audience
Okay.
so that they can see that. So coming to the interview, I think a lot of great questions. So good that you asked a lot of clarifying questions, which was helpful for you to narrow down from a very open-ended question to a specific customer segment and then metrics and features. So that's great. And I really like that you added the Amazon flywheel. I know it's very important, like in general for Amazon interviews, and you found a good spot to put it in and talked about how you will think about ads platform in context with the Amazon flywheel. So that's great. I also thought that it had a lot of options going into the interview. Like you were not afraid of talking about different options and being flexible in terms of what the interviewer is asking you. So that's great. And then I think like structuring your response early on, like telling the interviewer what you are going to talk about. And you mentioned about the circles framework, and I knew that you are because your answers were pretty structured, but at the beginning of it I didn't get where we are going, and we took some time to get to the metrics. And thanks for giving insights to all the audience of Mentor Me Good. And anyone who is watching this, good luck. If you want to know more tips, framework, and more of these mock interviews, feel free to come here and watch out this space. Thank you.